so plain and precious. Finally, the Book of Mormon is the keystone of testimony. Just as the arch crumbles if the keystone is removed, so does all the church stand or fall with the truthfulness of the Book of Mormon. The enemies of the church understand this clearly.
All right, Travis Wingetzel. It's James and Jasmine's missionary investigator lesson time. And so the introduction part here is that the majority of Mormons that I have witnessed in my decades of being a Mormon and having moved here since 1996, August, is that Mormons are casual Mormons for the most part. There are those extremists, which they call themselves devoted, but they're extremist. But nonetheless, they are recognized by those who go to church on Sunday. They go to the temple at least maybe once a year, but for the most part, they only go when a family member invites them to their marriage sealing, or a close family member is going on a mission. Those types of outings. Maybe your children are of the age of baptism and you're asked to help officiate and participate with the baptisms for the dead in the temple. But it's casual, laid back, low rider. You listen to the Sunday sessions of General Conference. Certainly no bombshells would be dropped in Saturday sessions. You attend or are part of baby blessings, baptism of kids, family members, priesthood ordinations, typically of the family. And you grew up attending seminary, going to BYU, and an institute therefore, because it's part of the curriculum, and going on a mission. And so even Mormon females are now casual Mormons who go on missions. And what else do I have on this list? Oh yeah, read, ponder, and pray. And so you really don't study your scriptures because you've got the feeling already. There are some who turn the scriptures into an idol-worshiping God, in which they, feel the loss of the Spirit, and so they go and they read, ponder, and pray until they get the feeling again. Trying to get the feeling again. Trying to put my life Manilow in the description below. That's the casual Mormon. They don't study because the feelings are all that matters. As long as they can maintain the feelings, they will never apostatize and become like me, who studied and became Korahor, anti-Mormon, antichrist, superhero. On sale for Christmas now. Action figure Travis. Dear God, I can't even get a Wikipedia page. Can you imagine? Boys and girls. That could have been the theme song in the description below too. Aqua's Barbie. And so when out on missions, these casual Mormons treat investigators casually. There are the extremists, obviously, or the hardcores, as they called themselves in the New York mission, between 89 to 91. They were pretty much the new batch that came in 1990. That's when I started hearing it float through the mission ranks. And these casual Mormons, are kind of bored with the average convert. Knock on the door, they say, oh, sure, we'll listen to your message. You go through the investigator lessons, and they agree to abstinence only and begin paying the church. And join in the waters of baptism to become part of the gang. The fascist gang. The criminal extortion racket gang. The family business. But there are those trophy converts that every missionary hopes for. It's like the holy grail of missionary work. These are your investigators who are like a trophy wife, where you married her because she's hot and she looks good on you to other people. And so, yes, these trophy converts are much the same. Has nothing to do with teaching them correctly about Mormonism. It's all about, I got to get this person converted so I can brag to everybody when I come home. And these are those who are black, especially right after 1978. The trophy black convert was the big deal. See how many missionaries can bring in blacks into the church now that Jesus is no longer a racist. And the Book of Mormon was edited to take out the more uncomfortable Christian interpretation of the learning of the Jewish Book of Mormon. And so, yeah, a Jew. Wow, yeah, we showed them. The Jewish Bible and the learning of the Jews' Book of Mormon. Yeah, converted to Christianity. Yep, no anti-Semitism there either for a trophy Jew to join the church. And Christian, nah, they all join because we claim to be Christian, and non-Trinitarian is the only obstacle, and that's usually a pretty easy one because having a not real Jesus or a half and half Jesus, half real, half not real. It's easier for the half real part. Makes it easier to swallow for Christians for the most part. And so now that Nelson is demanding that we say Jesus all the time, frequently repeat the name Jesus. Stay away from section 107 at the beginning. I think it's verse 2. They have already made up their minds though, but for a missionary, it's not a Christian, but a Christian leader. A pastor, a priest. That's the trophy convert. The trophy investigator. And so, yeah, Islamist too. Or Buddhist or Hindu. Yeah, wow. And so, yeah, when the news came out that an Egyptian had translated the Book of Mormon into his language, Everybody was like, whoa, the Book of Mormon's in Egyptian now. Wow. No. It's Arabic with an Egyptian dialect. It is not Egyptian hieroglyphs. I could do that, actually. I did it with the Bible. I could do it with the Book of Mormon. Another project to add to my pile. Great. And those who are popular are also considered trophy converts. Some high professional in business, entertainment is, what was her name? Is singer. Why is this so hard to find? She's famous. Apparently, she left the church. There she is. Gladys Knight, formerly of Gladys Knight and the Pips. Dear God. And government leaders. You know, the Polynesian kings. Oh, we got them. Yeah, that's a trophy convert. And so there are missionaries out in, is it Kentucky? I think it's Kentucky, because I think Paul is in Tennessee. Yeah, it's Kentucky. Who are investigating and desperately trying to convert James and Jasmine. James is black, so he's a trophy convert. But these missionaries are young. They don't know of the history of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And so they're like lambs to the slaughter. Because James and Jasmine do something that no other Mormon does, except me, and a few others now that are following me. They study. See, what you guys have forgotten about was the big scandal in 2012 when the news announced that the majority of Mormons are gone. They disappeared. Where'd they go? We'll have to get the membership records to find them, track them down, and force them to come back to church and pay tithing. And so, yeah, we get to discuss their latest missionary visit last night, which was on Monday. What's up with that, guys? I thought it was Sundays and Tuesdays. But yeah, she informed me that they were visiting their new convert, who's the landlord. So they stopped by to visit as well. And so comedy ensues. So before we get to that, we'll hold you in further suspense. We have Stephen Bolin. These are items of business to take care of. Other comments to take care of. Conditioned to lose intelligence, Mormons don't fear reaping the whirlwind. As today I'm also spending my time listening to it. I need to get it transferred to my MP3 player to listen to it while I go running. He says, Danger Will Robinson. You young'uns don't know where that comes from. That's Lost in Space, isn't it? Am I right on that one? Danger Will Robinson. Lost in Space, yeah. And for some reason they put season 1, episode 10. Was that the first instance of it? Regardless. He's telling me, I'm assuming, don't believe what they're saying to you. Seriously? How long have you been watching my videos? Am I really a puppet who just parrots what other people say and I get a warm, fuzzy feeling about? So, be more concerned about yourself rather than the mote in my eye. So on Second Coming, LDS prophesied remaining events. Dutch Boy Outdoors says, the LDS prophets are all false. All writings in the Book of Mormon were made up by Joseph Smith under demonic influence. The Dead Sea Scrolls proves LDS are false teachers, and he twisted scripture to justify his beliefs. And QAnon also tells me to tell you that Smith was a public nuisance and a known womanizer and polygamist and child predator. Mormons believe black people are black because God punished them. Dude, you are a parrot. It's all a collection of statements that are all false, except for LDS prophets are all false. But you're including Joseph in here. You have no clue about the origin of the church, as the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints lies to us about the origins of the church and covers it up and have created forged documents and have altered the original documents, and so that they're a stumbling block for Mormons now. 1 Nephi chapter 1 verse 2 puts it all to rest. The learning of the Jews. So is the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints the learning of the Jews? Mormons better hold their tongue, because otherwise they're going to reveal themselves as anti-Semitic. And so, yeah, it was Brigham Young, who's the evil man, who ran the Danites and turned Joseph Smith into the demon that you claim he is today, from others who have no clue because they didn't even bother to do their own church history research. They just heard from others and the church confirmed it, but called it faith promoting, and you now are going around as a puppet, their puppet, saying what they want you to say. You are not speaking for yourself. Because he keeps going on. Mormon women have no hope except to be sex slaves in heaven. No, Zion, next year, April conference. That's when it begins. So God and their husbands can create spirit babies with them. You're mixing polyandry in there. Mormons believe God is not everlasting, that he had a beginning. don't even know Mormon doctrine. There was other gods. Prior Mormons believed Jesus and the devil are brothers. Because you're using your Christian bias. What did Christians do to the Jews and the Jewish Bible and the Jewish religion and the Jewish Christ? Mormons believe Jesus was a created being when Scripture clearly states Jesus is part of the Trinity. Really? Is that what it says? Therefore, he is God. So, let me search for Trinity. Let's see if we can find them. If it's not in here, there will be a beep. Trinity. Nope, no Trinity. Loser, move along and stay the hell away from my channel. See, people who parrot, they have no interest in learning the truth. I can't communicate with him. If I were to approve that, YouTube would hide it from me. I have to go searching for it. And if I did find it and made a comment, nobody else would see my comment to his reply of dumbass stupidity. And he would get a whole bunch of thumbs ups. And I'm seen as promoting him. YouTube sucks. All right. So thanks again, Jasmine, for the Back in Black. I put in a request for part 2 to be Sink the Pank. So we'll see what she comes up with. And so, the missionaries. So the missionaries came back to talk to their neighbor who got baptized and stopped by to see how we were doing and if we were reading our scriptures. Oh, no. They don't read. They study. They were in a really good mood. Oops. Excuse me. And here comes James, the trophy black investigator, hoping to become a trophy convert. I'm going to try to remember this as much as possible. So, just like Moroni or Mormon, if there are any errors, they're the faults of me and not of God. James asked them how much they believe their Book of Mormon. The one elder said it changed his life. Did it? Did it really? How did it change your life? Did you stop bullying your neighbors? Did you stop being anti-Semitic? Did you stop being racist? Did you stop being sexist? Did you stop being a bigot? How did it change your life? This is the one that said that the Book of Mormon has not changed. Oops. Oops. See, this is the problem of the younger generations, because we older generations know very well things have been changing over time, and even before we were born. So that's why it's important, crucial, to get the correct information from the Joseph Smith papers, because the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints won't make any of the necessary changes. And so thus, the younger generation don't think that there's anything to be changed and that anything has been changed. Because if the church isn't saying it, then it doesn't exist. And so when they went through the temple, so that they can go on a mission. All they did was raise their right arm to the square, the palm forward, the fingers close together, and the thumb extended. And they have no clue what the thumb is. They have no clue what this means. They have no clue what has to keep on going. So when conference comes around, we all do this again. It's a sustaining vote. It's a covenant. And as the ancients covenanted death, thus the sacrifices on the altars, for making covenants. But that's now gone from the temples, and all these little kids, their parents, grandparents don't tell them, and they stay away from the big bad mean internet telling them lies about the church. All those deep fake videos of temple ceremonies prior to their being born. Those are deep fakes. And so yeah, they're clueless as to the church as it is and still is lurking in the background, waiting for their kingdom to bring this all back. What did you think the prophets meant by the millennial Zion and the restitution of all things? Did you just think it was Joseph? He restored it all? You haven't listened to Oaks, have you? And so James asked him, what is up with the change to the heading of Mormon chapter 5? Well, Prashant McConkie was involved with the change for the 1981 chapter heading. They read it and said, what change? He told them it used to say, the Lamanites shall be a dark, filthy, and loathsome people because their unbelief, the Lamanites will be scattered, and the Spirit will cease to strive with them. And so he showed one of the pre-1981 Book of Mormon PDFs that he had. See, they're studying their Book of Mormon, but because the church is lying and are racist, sexist, bigoted, neglectful of the poor, terrorist, seditious conspirators, they're having a hard time getting people who study and who don't parrot. Proud boy, Dutch boy. And they were like, we didn't know that. I stand all amazed because people are now trying to claim that my childhood didn't happen. That the Valley talk wasn't real. It was just in the movie. We were all saying it down there in Southern California. We didn't know that. As they proceeded to explain that the racist part of Mormonism was done away with in 1978. We know you by your fruits already. You cannot produce good from bad. If you're racist at one point in time in your church history, you're still racist, even though you claim that you've done away with it. It wasn't even a revelation. It was a threat for a quid pro quo so that they can bring back polygamy in the latter days. The Edmunds-Tucker Act was repealed after the church did this. And so, plus they had some African wards that were rebel factions, needed to be put in line. And so, sure enough, after 1978, yeah, they were no longer branch-offs. They were excommunicated, put back in their place. But yeah, this is what Mormons do not get. They can't get it, because if they get it, it means the church is false. But Brigham Young set the trap, claiming it's Joseph. Joseph's responsible. Nothing I can do about it. I have to obey. And so Mormons then run with it. No, it's Brigham who's the bad seed. Everything that comes from him is abominable. And nobody wants to get that. Nobody wants to go to church history and find out the truth. The Book of Mormon is in the learning of the Jews. The Lamanites are the white supremacists. You know, Brigham Young and Heber C. Kimball, the leaders of the Danites. White supremacists. Those are the Lamanites. We're getting to that when I get around to the prophecy videos of the Book of Mormon. We already started with the introduction for. And so James asked them, does that make it any better? Does your organization, because he won't call it a church, is not Joseph Smith's, want a pat on the back for shadily changing their racist beliefs? You will change your chapter headings in your Book of Mormon, a book that you have no idea what the book really means and is trying to say, while leaving all of the racist verses in it. Brigham was the one that started the priesthood ban on black people, not Joseph Smith. At that point, they actually looked scared. They didn't have enough white supremacists to back them up and make them feel superior. But wait, there's more, says Jasmine. As they were walking to their SUV, he asked, "Can you read something positive from the Book of Mormon?" They said sure. He told them, let's read Alma chapter 32. And as we read it, keep this in mind. He's turning it back on the missionaries. That is so hilarious. Oh my God. As we read it, keep this in mind. Our friend Travis talks about planting seeds in Mormons to help grow understanding. You tell me what you feel from the Book of Mormon, so let me give you my burning in the bosom. As you tell me I should get. They were like, what do you mean? He said, you want us to believe what you say and want to read, ponder, and pray to get the burning in the bosom. But this time I want you to read, ponder, and do what the first part of verse 27 says, which reads, but behold, if you will awake and arouse your faculties, even to an experiment upon my words, you might know what you know, but maybe you might want to take a moment and wake up from what you know and use your faculties to see what's going on. And so Jasmine interrupts and says, to be honest, Travis, I actually think they took what he said to heart, because their expression changed from fear to relief. Not quite. They were more they were relieved that he wasn't going to murder them, but was quoting from a passage that they can easily brush off and ignore. I don't know if that's because they thought James was going to get mad and physical over the racial thing, or they understood what he was saying. And so, yeah, this is... Dear God, guys. Dear God. Why Mormons? Why? Some other comments on the emails. We will not be going over those. And so, yeah, it's one thing to be a casual Mormon. It's another thing to be caught off guard by an actual investigator who studies and doesn't fall for your missionary trap of read, ponder, pray. You got the feeling? Good. Join our church. Pay us money. And then find out that there are a whole bunch of other things that require an exceeding amount of faith to stay Mormon and not lose retention, which is a big problem down south of the border, where you get missionaries who trick people into joining the church because they feel, hey, I can be rich too, like you guys are. Going to Mr. Mac, huh? And then only to find out that the church isn't going to give them a penny to help out. They've got to pull themselves up by their own bootstraps. And then you find out that they're not Trinitarian Christian, they're non-Trinitarian Christian, and so now Heavenly Father raped Mary and gave birth to Jesus, who was his daughter. And other problems that become very apparent if you want to maintain Christian perception, as that's what the missionaries are doing. We're Christian, join us. And so, yes, as Butterball, Dutch boy, said, we're not Christian. All Christians know it. But those who don't know about the church are the ones that the church hopes to get the missionaries to persuade to become Mormon. And yeah, it's for the kingdom next year. So... that's the sad reality of the church, is that you get lured in as a convert having no clue what you're in for, because you don't get taught Mormonism before joining. So Joseph Smith's Senior's church was Congregationalist. And in the Congregationalist church, in order to become a member, you yourself had to get a personal conversion within yourself after having attended their several meetings as often as occasion would permit, so that you can learn about them, you can see what they're all about, know the religion, know their doctrinal difference from other Christian religions. And then when you have that conversion, you then go to the membership and request to become a member. The members then vote as to whether or not you can become a member. You have to be an adult, which would back then over 21 years of age. Now, this 8-year-old, let alone little babies, because they wanted to make sure you were serious about being a member of their church, and that you had demonstrated that you are willing to be a member, that you know the doctrine, that you know their different position. And so, yeah, Joseph Smith Sr. was not a member of that church, but they attended their meetings as often as occasion would permit. And so thus enter Nathaniel Wood with the New Israelites, who was excommunicated by the Congregationalists and implemented more of a Jewish Kabbalah version. And so as much as that would help you guys understand the Book of Mormon prophecies in the context that they were written by Joseph Smith Sr. in the rewritten 116 pages, the Book of Mormon still can be understood without any of the historical context. But he had to keep it a secret because of those big, bad, mean old Brighamite Danites that were looking for him to murder whoever was perpetuating the William Morgan manuscripts that became the Book of Mormon. So, we're done.